Good morning, all again. Let's start. We were talking about NetBeans and some features of it. Last time we discussed about object-oriented programming and its features. So we'll continue with the same. I'll move on to the book first of all. So last time we discussed about these topics. We talked about classes, objects, data members, methods, access modifiers, or visibility modes. Today we'll move on further and we'll talk about data members and methods. Now, as we have just covered that classes are basically uh, the concept where the data is kept in a secured way, and each class has some data members and then also has some member methods which can be used along with the data. Now, we know that classes में हम कुछ भी बनाएंगे, all such things are we are just creating a definition kind of thing, that we are creating certain variables के ये variables use होंगे और ये methods use होंगे, उसके हम अंदर हम ये चीज़ें करेंगे, but actually it doesn't carries the data. So those variables that we declare in a class, how do we assign values to them? To assign them value, we need to create objects of them out of them. So every class can have multiple objects, right? So like if you declare a variable, let's say name in a class, now how will you get a value, give a value to the name? That for that we have to create an object. For one object we can give the name Gaurav. For second object you can give a separate name. Third object we can get separate name. So we can find set of different the values that we give to all the classes in these objects, right? So जितने ऑब्जेक्ट बनेंगे उतनी वैल्यूज होती रहेंगी, right? As we have discussed this time, like if you see, if there's a class called as employee and we have three data members there, one is employee number, one is name, one is salary, and there are three methods associated with the class: add new employee, display employee, and calculate salary, right? So in methods may we'll write certain instructions to add a new value, a new record, and then in this method display employee will try to print the values that we have added, and in the third method calculate salary will write certain instructions to find out the salary part of how to calculate the salary, right? And basically these three are the variables that we are declared in this class. Now when we create the object of a class, like let's say we create an object employee 1, right? Now this employee 1 object will have three values. What are these three values? This is the employee number, this is the name, this is the salary. So actually what happen is, when you create an object बनाने से जो हमने डेटा मेंबर्स डिफाइन किए थे क्लास में, उनकी वैल्यूज को हम लोग ऑब्जेक्ट्स में रखते हैं, the value that we assign to these variables. So for one object these are the set of variables, the set of values, and for second object employee 2 another set of values, then for employee 3 another set of values. So likewise we can create multiple copies of the class and we can create different set of values for each and every object. So what we are doing over here is we are using these same variables and we are assigning the values to these variables by creating different objects. तो ये कंसेप्ट है, हम क्लास बनाने के बाद जितने ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना चाहते हैं बना सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज now if we talk about NetBeans में ये चीज़ें बैकग्राउंड में हो रही हैं. Most of the things are done at background. You can do it yourself also, but most of the things are done. Like if you talk about text field, so when you drag one text field control from the palette to the form, जब आप टेक्स्ट फील्ड पैलेट से एक टेक्स्ट फील्ड उठा के ड्रैग करके फॉर्म पे छोड़ देते हो, तो होता क्या है कि टेक्स्ट फील्ड की एक क्लास होती है जो इनबिल्ट क्लास है. सो वेन एवर यू ड्रैग वन थिंग हियर, ए न्यू ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द क्लास is created automatically, and whatever name you give to that text field, that name will be the name of that object. So likewise you can create multiple text fields in one form. तो जितनी text field लगाओगे उतने objects बनते जाएंगे, right? And all these belongs to J text field class. right? And that j text field class will have some inbuilt methods also. जो member methods हम बात कर रहे थे ये वाले, जैसे ये यूजर डिफाइंड मेथड्स है, तो जावा में ये इनबिल्ट होते हैं, जैसे set text, set enabled, pow और ये सब हमने जो अभी किया था recently. All such are the methods of that particular class, right? So if you talk about text field, so the class is j text field. And what are the data members? Text, editable, the properties that we see there. Editable property, enabled property, tooltip text. Likewise, there are different data members that are created that are already ready-made. We don't have to create them. They are there in Java. They're there in NetBeans already. And the methods associated to that class: set text, get text, set editable, set enabled, set tooltip text, likewise. So these are the methods which are already created there. These are the members which are already there. So what happens is, whenever you drag one text field and you create a text field and paste it on the form, one object one is created with the name that you indicate, that j text field one is the default name. आप उसको change variable name में जाके change भी कर सकते हो right click करके. And whatever values you type there, whatever values you give, जैसे editable property में true कर दिया, text property में ये नाम लिख दिया, edit enable property में false कर दिया, tooltip text में enter name text डाल दिया, तो ये जो आप values डाल रहे हो ये object की values हैं, right? Likewise, you drag one text field over the form again, एक दूसरी text field लगाई तो एक और object बन जाएगा, उसका नाम होगा j text field 2. डिफॉल्ट नेम इज दिस, आप उसको चेंज कर सकते हो. एंड वट एवर वैल्यूज यू गिव टू दीज प्रॉपर्टीज, टेक्स्ट प्रॉपर्टी में इंडियन कर दिया, एडिटेबल में फॉल्स कर दिया, एनेबल्ड में भी फॉल्स कर दिया, टूल टिप में सिटीजनशिप लिख दिया. तो ये जो वैल्यूज असाइन हो रही हैं ये ऑब्जेक्ट्स में हो रही हैं, और क्लास के अंदर डेटा मेंबर्स डिफाइन होते हैं, और हमारे नेटबीन्स में रेडीमेड है, राइट? ऐसे ये लेबल की क्लासेज हैं. वन क्लास इज जे लेबल क्लास, and we have these members: text, editable, tooltip text, and these are the methods. And whenever you drag one label to the form, एक object बनेगा, उसमें जो भी वैल्यू आप टेक्स्ट फील्ड प्रॉपर्टी में डालते हो टेक्स्ट प्रॉपर्टी में, वो आप लेबल के ऊपर डिस्प्ले होती है. सो दैट वैल्यू इज द वैल्यू ऑफ दैट data member of JLabel class, right? So likewise, we can create multiple objects, we can create multiple labels and assign values to them. Values in the sense that we assign values to the properties of them, right? So this text, enabled, editable, they are actually the data members in the class because they have stored specific values data. For example, text property contains the actual text to be displayed, right? So this is the concept of class and objects in Java, right? So you must be clear with this now. So इसको read करके देखना एक बार, just you'll get everything, right? And still if you find any difficulty problem, you can come up anytime. Now we'll talk about different kind of things that we use in programming, right? Whenever we create certain programs, we use different kind of components. We call them as tokens. तो प्रोग्रामिंग के अंदर बहुत सारे टोकन्स यूज होते हैं, जैसे वेरिएबल्स भी यूज होते हैं, कांस्टेंट टाइप टर्म्स भी यूज होती हैं, समवेयर वी लाइक इंट, certain keywords are used sometimes, right? So we'll talk about all these things one by one. First of all is variable. Now variables are containers. Containers, why do we call them containers? Because they contain some value in them. They're used to store the values for some input. So they have some value which can be used as an input, or these variables can also be used to store the results, right? Or the final results of the operation, or intermediate result. Intermediate मतलब बीच में कहीं कोई printing करनी है तो print कर सकते हैं, final print करना है तो final कर सकते हैं, right? So so whenever we create a variable, let's say I create a variable x, I write int x. int x मतलब x नाम का वेरिएबल बन गया, और int का मतलब है उसके अंदर इंटीजर टाइप वैल्यू आएगी, ठीक है? So whenever that variable is declared, what happen is, actually speaking, one memory location is created in the memory of the computer, and that whatever name you give to that variable, like x is given, so वो memory location का नाम x हो जाएगा. ठीक है. So whenever we write x is equal to 5, so that 5 number is saved in that x location, right? So basically ये memory location की को हम एक नाम assign करते हैं, इसे name assign to a memory location. Whenever you assign a value to that variable, that value that you assign, that value is saved at that particular memory location. ठीक है. तो वेरिएबल्स को हम नेम्ड मेमोरी लोकेशंस भी बोलते हैं. नेम्ड मेमोरी लोकेशंस मींस दीज आर द मेमोरी लोकेशंस व्हिच आर गिवन अ नेम, राइट? So if we talk about characteristics of variable, it has a name and it is capable of storing values. We can store certain values into it, and it provides temporary storage. It's not the permanent kind of storage, it's a temporary storage because it is used store the things in random access memory, RAM. So once you save it, then it is permanent, and if you're not saving, you're running it for some time, then it is temporary, right? So whenever you like, अभी हम बात करते हैं जैसे प्रोग्राम तुम सेव करके रख सकते हैं, जब भी दोबारा ओपन करेंगे वही चीज़ बनेगी, बट हम बात करते हैं जब रन करेंगे प्रोग्राम को. व्हेन यू रन द प्रोग्राम, दैट टाइम मेमोरी इज क्रिएटेड whenever that variable is declared, like if you write int x in the very first line, जब रन करोगे उस टाइम पे मेमोरी लोकेशन क्रिएट होगी और उस x के अंदर जो कुछ भी वैल्यूज आगे सेव होती हैं वो उस मेमोरी लोकेशन पे सेव होती रहेंगी, एंड इट्स अ टेम्परेरी काइंड ऑफ स्टोरेज, right? Once you are done with that, close the program, that whatever we is written in that particular memory location is gone, right? That we know that RAM is volatile, means it's even if you switch off the system, then whatever is stored in the RAM is all deleted. Now variables have one more property, that during runtime when you execute a program, that time also we can change the value. It has the capability of changing its value. We can change the value at runtime also. Like x is equal to 5 is written when you run the program, and based on certain conditions, if you give some conditions in between, agar bhai x की value 100 से ज़्यादा हो जाए, then change x is equal to 50. Initially it was 5. So variable value can be changed at runtime according to the conditions that we specify in the program. So program के अंदर जैसी भी condition देनी है वो, how do we give that conditions will cover up later on. इसके बाद conditions के ऊपर ही आएंगे हम लोग. Now the important thing is that since variables are containers, but we have to specify. We specify in the sense that we have to tell the compiler. जो compiler है हमें उसको बताना पड़ता है भाई ये container है, अब इसके अंदर किस तरह की value आएगी, what kind of data it can hold, right? So we need to tell this compiler that it has to hold integer value. Then we have to write a data type before that variable, but wherever it is declared. So it has to be declared with the help of a data type before that, right? Like int x you write, so it will hold only integer values. And if you write float x, float means it can hold numbers with the decimal places, right? So we'll talk about data types after this. Right, so we deal with different kinds of data. It can be a simple number, it can be a single letter alphabet, or it can be a large number. So based on different types of data, the software has created different types of data types. So इनको हम data types बोलते हैं. Data types indicate कि किस तरह का data आप किसी variable को या किसी भी container में store कर सकते हो, right? So the first category in data type is numeric data type. Numeric is numbers, and numeric का मतलब है numbers only, right? We cannot write decimal numbers here, right? Numbers with the decimals we cannot write. Numeric is only integers, right? Only numbers without decimals. We cannot write integers only. So we have 4 types of numeric data types. One is byte, short, int, and long. And if you write byte x, तो x वेरिएबल में बाइट टाइप का डेटा आ सकता है. बाइट का मतलब है कि इट्स ए नंबर बट इट्स ए स्मॉल नंबर. व्हाट इज द रेंज? -128 से लेके 127. So you cannot write a number larger than 127. You cannot write a number smaller than 120 minus 128, right? So agar if you people are using a small number somewhere, if you're making a program where only small numbers is to be added, only small numbers within this range you want to add, there you can prefer write using byte data type. So how do we write this? We will simply write byte space देके variable का नाम and put semicolon. So this is declaration of a variable. So this declares that roll number is a variable created and it can store byte type of data, right? So then we have short. Short is the range is little higher. We can have use a larger number. So the maximum number it pays, the maximum range is 32,767 and minimum is 32768, right? So within this range the numbers can be used, but beyond this range we cannot use the number. So if your program requires numbers within this range, then you can use the short. Next one is int, and int का range ज़्यादा है, minus 2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1, right? So it's 2 to the power 31, it's very long number, right? Long is the longest out of all this, so range is even higher, minus 2 to the power 63 to 2 to the power 63. So these are four different types of data types used for in numeric values only, numbers only, and their ranges are different, right? And their sizes is also different, right? Remember to the sizes are also important, because sometimes it is asked in exams. Even though if this question doesn't come in exam, then this is very kind pet kind of question asked in your viva practical vivas, right? तो वहाँ पे एग्जामिनर आपको पूछ सकते हैं what are the sizes. Byte is 1 byte and short is 2 byte, integer 4 byte and long 8 bytes. So this is the maximum size of one particular data type, right? Talking about next category, we have floating data types. Floating मतलब decimal वाले numbers, जहाँ पे decimals भी use कर सकते हैं. So we have two data types here. One is float, one is double. Float data type का size 4 byte है, right? और ये single precision floating point number है. और double precision में ये है, मतलब वही है, range is larger. So the range for float is 3.4 into 10 to the power minus 38. And the largest number we can take is 3.4 into 10 to the power 38, right? So it can have 38 digits long number, right? 37 digit in fact. And then double has even more, is 10 to the power 308, and it's minus 308 here at the lower level. So अगर आपको बहुत बड़ा नंबर यूज करना है तो डबल प्रेफर करो, अगर आपको नॉर्मल नंबर यूज करना है तो फ्लोट प्रेफर करो, right? And the size is 4 bytes and 8 bytes respectively, right? To declare, it's simple, write float and name of the variable, semicolon, or double name of the variable and semicolon, right? So this is about floating point decimal numbers. Third category is characters. Characters मतलब आपके alphabets, right? These are used to store characters in the sense or alphabets that can be characters. Now it's not only alphabets can be used in characters, numbers can also be used here, and special characters are also used. Special character मतलब आपके comma, full stop, semicolon, all those, these are all part of characters. और आपके alphabets आएंगे और numbers भी आ सकते हैं, right? But remember this number when it is declared as a character, so that number is not cannot be used for calculations then. अगर आप एक नंबर को कैरेक्टर के फॉर्म में डिक्लेयर करते हो तो वो जो कैरेक्टर है, वो जो नंबर है, वो आप कैलकुलेशंस में नहीं यूज कर सकते, बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट अ नंबर बेसिकली. इट्स नॉट नाइदर इंटीजर नॉर न्यूमेरिक नॉर नाइदर फ्लोटिंग, राइट? एंड so whenever we want to store a single character, we use character data type, and whenever we want to store a group of characters, ज़्यादा characters, then we use string data type. So we have two data types here, char and string. So char is used for single characters and string is used for group of characters, right? And what is the difference between these two? Single character मतलब एक character, like A, B, C, D, E. These are single characters, right? And group of characters like a name. Let's say Gaurav is the name. So Gaurav has Gaurav. We have 6 characters in this full name. So this Gaurav is a string, and the characters I've used is Gaurav. 6 characters are used. Okay. Character data type value is always enclosed in inside single quotes. Single quotes means single inverted commas. All characters are stored or they are represented in single inverted commas. So whenever we need to write, declare a character, so for that we'll write char x is equal to single inverted comma में a. Fine. So this is how we declare a character, single inverted comma for one character. And for string, we write string x is equal to double inverted comma, right? Strings के लिए double और characters के लिए single inverted commas, right? One more thing I wish to tell you here is if I write char y is equal to single inverted comma में Gaurav लिख दूं, then what happens? This Gaurav is counted as one value. It is a single character, although we have used multiple characters here. But when you write this in single inverted commas, then it is considered as one character. Now here, this Gaurav is a group of characters where G is one character, A is one, U is one, R is one, A and V. So we have 6 characters here. The group of 6 characters is a string X. But here, when you write the same thing in single quotes, then it is a single character. Gaurav is counted as one character only, full word, right? And also, if you write any number here, any number you write, and you write the number in inverted comma, then this number cannot be used for multiplication or division or addition or any kind of calculation. Reason is that this is not number, this is a character here. ठीक है? तो जैसे अगर हम में लिखें z is equal to y plus 5, so this will give you an error. Why it is error? Because y is a characters and characters cannot be added into a number. We cannot add a character into number. So this will be an error in this case. Although this y is having a number, but that number is basically the character form. It is not an integer form or numeric form or floating form. So we cannot use that number in calculations. Okay. So this we must be clear and you must know this. Moving further, then out of there are some more data types also, but a book is restricted to only this much, so we'll not cover up more. Some more characters we'll learn in next class also, in 12th class, right? Coming to next topic, next part of the topic is operators. So this is another token used. Operators are um, they are basically used to do perform some calculations operations on these variables that we talk about. And some other term, there's one more term written here, constants. Constants क्या होते हैं? Constants have some fixed value, they cannot be changed. And variables can change. As the name indicates, variable means the value can vary, right? Now if we talk about, if I write x is equal to 5, now out of this, x is a variable here and this value 5 is constant, right? So this value 5 is constant here, so the value 5 will remain 5 forever. X can be changed, like if you write x is equal to 10 in the next line, so x की value 10 हो जाएगी, so that can change, but constants are the fixed ones, right? And what type of constants we use? We can use numbers, we can use floating numbers like this, or we can use characters, these are also constants, or you can use string also. So these are all different examples of constants, right? Likewise, we have more also. So whenever we want to perform certain operations on these variables as well as constants. If you want to perform some operation, like if you want to add something, or you want to multiply something, or you'd want to divide something, then we use operators, right? We use operators for doing these calculations. Now, operators, they are symbols that manipulate, combine, or compare variables. Manipulate is to change, right? Change means where we can add and get a new value, you can subtract and get a new value, you can multiply and get a new value, you can divide, you can find remainder after dividing, right? So for all these things we have different kind of symbols, and all these symbols are called as operators. Similarly, if you want to combine two words, for that also we have a symbol, operator. And then if you want to compare two values, like if I want to compare x and y, so if I want to check whether x is greater than y, so I can put x greater than symbol and y, so that greater than symbol is also an operator, right? So let's talk about these different types of operators one by one. First one is assignment operator. Assignment operator is this equal to symbol, this equal to. Now this assignment operator is used to assign a value to a variable. कोई भी value assign करनी किसी भी variable को, like 0 is being assigned to a variable named sum, right? So this is the use of this equal to sign. Equal to is the assignment operator which assigns a value written on the right hand side to a variable written on the left hand side, right? So it can be a number, it can be expression also, like it is 5 star 4 star 5. 4 star 5 means star indicates multiply here, so it is 4 multiply 5, ठीक है? तो 4 multiply 5 इस एक्सप्रेशन का जो भी आंसर आएगा वो आंसर प्राइम को इस वेरिएबल को असाइन कर देगा, ये इक्वल टू सिंबल, फाइन. Next, we'll talk about arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used for calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? And the symbols used are these: minus for subtraction, star for multiply, slash for divide, plus for add, and this percentage sign is for finding the remainder. इसको मॉडुलस बोलते हैं, ठीक है? ये परसेंटेज साइन जो है, ये परसेंटेज नहीं निकालता है, ये रिमाइंडर निकालता है, राइट? रिमाइंडर लाइक इफ यू राइट 5 percentage 2, so the answer for this will be 1. How? When you divide 5 by 2, what is the remainder left? So 2 to the 4, and 5 minus 4 is 1. So it calculates the remainder. Sometimes we need this operator for finding out remainders also. It happens in some of the programs, right? तो ये रिमाइंडर हो गया, ये हो गया अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेटर. फिर आ गया रिलेशनल ऑपरेटर, जो हम बात कर रहे थे कंपैरिजंस की. तो रिलेशनल ऑपरेटर्स में they are used to compare one or more values, right? Multiple values, more than one values, two or maybe two values in fact. So this equal to, if you write equal to 2 times, that this checks whether both the values written before and after this on the right side and the left side of this operator, are they equal or not. It checks, right? So like if you write x equal to 2, this will check whether the value of x is equal to 2 or not. So this returns your answer in true or false, right? So similarly, exclamation sign and equal to is used for not equal to. So if you write x exclamation sign equal to 2, this means whether the value of x is not equal to 2 or not, right? Opposite of that, this is checking the value of 2, whether x is equal to 2 or not. This is checking whether x is not equal to 2 or not, right? Similarly, x greater than 2 will check whether the value of x is greater than 2 or not. X less than 2 will check whether the value of x is less than 2 or not. And this is greater than equal to and less than equal to. इसमें equal का भी check करता है, वो equal भी होना चाहिए या उससे बड़ा होना चाहिए, right? So all these are different relational operators and they gives us answer in true or false only, right? So if the condition is true, then answer is true, and if condition is false, then answer is false. Now it depends upon the value of this variable which we are using, or some expressions, right? So next is logical operators. Now logical operators, they give logical operation का मतलब है when you want to go for complex calculations, like where we want to compare two things, like if you want to check two things like a greater than 10 and b less than 8. So we want to check two conditions simultaneously. a की वैल्यू b से 10 से बड़ी होनी चाहिए और b की वैल्यू 8 से छोटी होनी चाहिए, दोनों चीज़ें होनी चाहिए. तो ये जो एंड ऑपरेटर है, दिस टू एम्परसेंड साइन, right, double and. So this is the and operator which checks whether both the conditions are true or not. अगर दोनों कंडीशंस ट्रू होती हैं तो आपका आउटपुट ट्रू होता है, अगर दोनों में से एक भी फॉल्स हो गई तो आउटपुट फॉल्स हो जाएगा, क्योंकि एंड के केस में दोनों कंडीशंस ट्रू होनी ज़रूरी हैं. So if a is greater than 10 as well as b is less than 8, then only the answer will be true. Even if a is greater than 10 and b is not greater than 8, this condition is false, this condition is true, so your answer will be false. So answer will be true in only one case, that both the conditions given here must be true. ठीक है, अगर प्रोग्राम में a की वैल्यू 10 से ज़्यादा है और b की वैल्यू 8 से कम है, तभी आपका इसका रिजल्ट ट्रू होगा, नहीं तो इसका रिजल्ट फॉल्स ही होगा. अगर एक भी कंडीशन रह जाती है, अगर ये ट्रू हो जाती है, ये फॉल्स हो जाती है, तब भी आंसर फॉल्स होगा. अगर ये ट्रू हो जाता है, ये फॉल्स हो जाता है, तब भी आपका आंसर फॉल्स होगा, राइट. सेकेंड लॉजिकल ऑपरेटर इज और. और हम लगाते हैं दो स्लैशेस से, राइट. सो दिस सिंबल इज यूज फॉर और ऑपरेटर. और में क्या होता है कि दोनों में से कोई एक कंडीशन ट्रू होनी चाहिए, या तो a 10 से बड़ा हो या b 8 से छोटा हो. सो आइदर ऑफ दीज टू हैज टू बी ट्रू. Either this condition should be true or this condition should be true. Any one can be true, your answer will be true, right? Only in case both are false, then your answer will be false. Otherwise, in all the conditions, the answer will be true. ये true हो गया, ये false हो गया, answer true होगा. अगर ये true हो जाए, ये false हो जाए, तब भी answer true होगा. और अगर दोनों true हो जाएंगे, तब भी answer true होगा. But अगर दोनों false होंगे, तब answer false आएगा. ठीक है, तो or means either of the two. Either of the two given condition should be true. राइट. एंड दिस इज नॉट ऑपरेटर. नॉट एक्सक्लेमेशन साइन जो है वो नॉट ऑपरेटर होता है. नॉट होता है ऑपोजिट करता है. अगर आपकी ये ए की वैल्यू ट्रू है तो नॉट लगाने से वो फॉल्स हो जाएगी, और ए की वैल्यू फॉल्स है तो नॉट लगाने से ट्रू हो जाएगा. इट डज द ऑपोजिट ऑफ दैट. वट एवर कंडीशन वी हैव इन ए, इट डज द ऑपोजिट ऑफ दैट, राइट. One more is bitwise operators, and now bitwise operators are used to perform manipulation of individual bits of a number, right. So individual bits मतलब single bits of number. This can be used with any of the integral types. It can be used with char, short, int, etc., right. And they are used for performing update and query operations on binary indexed tree. So they are basically used on binary kind of values. They are not used for calculations, and उनको हम डायरेक्ट कैलकुलेशन में नहीं यूज़ करते. इनको हम कहीं बाइनरी फॉर्म में अगर यूजिंग सर्टन थिंग्स, देयर वी यूज इट, राइट. So that's it. These are all different kinds of tokens that we use, right? Now, next part of the chapter is that how do we create a project. This we have already covered up. हम projects कैसे बनाते हैं, मैंने शुरू में आपको बताया था. Or how do we create a new form. For that, we go to file, give new project, right? Or you can click on new project button on the toolbar. Then you have to choose the categories, whichever you want to create, right? And then enter the name in the project field name column. वहाँ पे आपको नाम देना पड़ेगा. Specify the location where you want to save this, right? by default it is the folder in my documents. By default my documents में folder automatically create हो जाता है, or you can change this location also. And ensure that set as main checkbox is selected. Main project checkbox select होना चाहिए और create main class वाली field clear होनी चाहिए, right? Otherwise your program will be in problem. It will not run if the main project box is not selected. The main project will not be created, main method is not created, so the program will not run. तो ये दो चीज़ें आपको ध्यान रखनी है. Click on finish to end up, right? So your new form will be created like this. New project is created, right? And how do we create a new form? Just right click on this project, right click on this, go to new, go to JFrame form. Fine. Chalo, that's it. I think the time is running up, so we'll not be able to cover this topic. We'll do it next time. Okay then, huh? Goodbye from my side.